Well, good evening, Free Enterprise fans, live from the Hummingway shop on the moon. That's right, we made it, and we're here. We're on the moon.
We did it. Finally. It only took a few months, but good good movement like that takes time and we finally made the dream come true.
That's right, so we're broadcasting live the round of 64 of the Highway to the Zemus Zone, which is outside on the moon, basically. There's a long way to go yet before we get down to the bottom, but we found a Lunarian along the way. Hey, it's Foo. He's gonna party with us today. How do you feel about that?
I feel like I haven't seen a foo start on these flags at all in any of my watching it, so I'm really excited to see this because I don't actually know how that's going to play out. Obviously, foo is going to make a lot of the little difficulties of Sea Hero work out, but I don't know. It's gonna be different, especially once you worry about agility and like that later.
Absolutely. Of course, just so everyone's aware, Soleras handpicked this matchup for himself. Soleras on the left is our 7 seed, was one of our top 16 drafters. Rowdy Roddy Sniper finished in at rank 50. I guess Soleras may be looking to pick on somebody who doesn't have a ton of experience making deep runs in free enterprise tournaments, but that doesn't always seem like that's been the best choice so far. We've had our share of upsets already this tournament.
I was thinking about this watching the qualifier stage, and I think I actually mentioned it on the last qualifier I was on too for commentary, that if you'd have made me guess who was going to be in the top 64 or even the top 16 going into this tournament, I don't know how many of them I would have gotten right. And I think that, from the first seed down to the 64th seed, there's no such thing as a guarantee in the matchups with how close our competitors have been getting over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's not a lot of guarantees. I mean, there are some guarantees, it's guaranteed that if you're not in the top 64, you're not winning this thing. But other than that, who could say what's going to happen? It might be time to gamble. We'll see what these runners have kind of got up their sleeves now. Foo is not the most common starter, certainly, and like you said, does change the game a lot. So, otherwise, it is Twin Harp as one of our required. Baron Key is our objective 5, so we might be going deep into the seed. It'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see the break Dark Elf spell with Twin Harp objective instead of the complete Cave Magnus objective, because if you just get that harp, you just have to run down, start the music, and then come back. You don't have to bother with most of it from there, and it'll help out quite a bit for our runners to not have to do that. We are also seeing, I believe we've got a Porum here as well.
Yeah, we got ourselves a Porum, so we've got Foo and Porum. Foo is also going to kind of push us towards early bosses potentially, like the Mist Cave boss, for example, is now actually a much higher priority, even if it's not Wyvern or Mist Dragon. So we'll see if this changes routing considerations, and we'll see what these two runners do with these two mages to start.
Yeah, I think that's the two different questions of Foo, or at least of two different schools of thought. There's the I'm going to go and get all of these bosses that I can and get Foo powered up. But there's also the, depending on what they start with, Foo might already be strong enough, and it's looking like they're not really starting with great stuff to help with it. And you could conceivably go to some of the harder places and just get through bosses that way. So it's just a question of whether or not they want that early power spike.
Well, they're both hitting up the watery pass here. I guess Fire 1 wasn't enough. We got a Wizard hat. We've got some arrows, Darkness arrows to go here. So I guess we're trying. A lot of runners have been dipping watery pass because, again, T-Pro means that we're trying to look for higher tier loot that's more likely to be here. Black Shirt kind of rates here, though, +5 to the Black Magic casting stat. Even Wizard Shirts are +3, so that's, that's a pretty good start here.
Yeah, I think, part of the thing about looting in this seed so far is that when you start with 2 mages and like that, I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we might just see one of those seeds where it doesn't really give you many good physical attackers. And that might cut down some looting later as well, because you don't really need that much gear if you're doing just raw mages as opposed to the levels. So we'll see what they get later on, but right now I kind of feel like looting too far might be a bit not great right now.
I mean, other thing we could be chasing up is a heroin robe and a bow, something that'll give us some hitting power from Porum. just to kind of get us through the first couple of bosses.
Yeah, definitely. And, you can always make a physical attacker. Like, if you don't have a physical attacker at home, store-bought is fine kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that Porm really can only use a bow, and I think we only get 3 tiers of bows. Well, we have S standard, so we should realistically even be able to potentially find an Elven bow out there, but like nothing super exciting yet. Rowdy Roddy Sniper went for the extended dive into the center watery pass. No real use items yet. Like we got bow and arrow, which is getting equipped. It looks like on Fu. The other nice thing is we don't have the Neki flag, so Fu does get his full complement of gear to start. So short shirt and a nice hat. So Fu is gonna be fairly powerful here, bow or not.
Yeah, and one other thing that Soleras just picked up in that one chest sitting up in the actual castle of Damcene itself, and as I just noticed also on Rowdy Roddy Sniper's side in the Damcene Treasury, is we found both an Ogre Axe and a Poison Axe so far. So if you find, like, Sid, Kane, Cecil, you at least have something to give them right away that'll make them do a decent amount of damage.
I mean, Ogre Axe is nice accuracy. It's a great weapon for being an axe, so I'm always excited to see that one personally. And the boss here is going to be Bahamut, so looks like, yeah, Soleras has just decided, hey, a Lunar Staff does more than enough damage here. It's doing it for 150, so I think this is going to go down pretty smoothly here, and so we're going to get our first look at some more spells.
Definitely. Ice 2 is not a bad starting spell to go on. I mean, I feel like if you get even just like a tier 2 spell that's going to take care of most everything in terms of like the blue planet checks, and that might sort of make you not as eager to maybe like go grab the watery pass boss as well. So you might just end up seeing him go from there. It looks like Rowdy Roddy Sniper, on the other hand, is just going to go down into Antlion Cave first.
Yeah, second longsword, but Edge is gated on these flags, so no assurance that you're going to get him. But gonna take this objective, probably using Fire 1 in that bow, so should be pretty fine. It's gonna take a moment, but it should be all right. Ice 2 is a bit of an advantage for Soleras if he dips into Antlion right off, which he is, and he's gonna be counting on that Ice 2. It's not hope for Pale Dim or anything like that, right?
I mean, yeah, you're not hoping for it and hoping for it. I think it depends on what side of things you're on. Personally, I'd like to see something that throws a bit of a curveball at this Fu start, and Astera is not it, unfortunately.
Might be for Rowdy Roddy Sniper, because may have to set up Grey Face, because remember, there's no J items in shops on these flags. So Star Veils, which you normally can buy, and it's been a staple of being able to buy them in shops in free enterprise tournaments for 3.5 years. Guess what? Can't do it.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that's changed the way that people approach a lot of these fights too, because it's no longer free Ysera, it's no longer free Golbez, it's no longer free Wyvern. Well, even with that, Witchburn is on, so it would change that anyways. So it's really created a lot of interesting changes in strategy from the base, just throw up a Star Veil and it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got 4, and 4 is enough to do pretty much everything you want, but you probably want to hang on to 1 for Z at this party already. This is looking, they're already kind of setting up for Reflect, unless like our characters on Hobbs and Baronin or like Cecil and Kane, and then it's like, okay, we're not going to be Reflecting, but, we're trying to conserve these. Golbez is still out there. They're useful on like Leviathan in a high hit point spot. They're useful in a couple of other situations. So, again, runner's going to try to take pains to hang on to them.
Yeah, it's not quite going great on getting that Grey Face set up over on Rowdy Roddy Sniper's side. Soleras already through, so just that little bit of early dive into Mist Cave has already paid off, and basically already put him ahead, and Quake as a reward for it is going to pay off even more, and Adamant on top of it is another great bonus there.
Wait, did we really get Quake at 700 hit points? Just so everyone knows, for Fu, spells are scaled, so there's a greater chance of getting higher powered spells in higher slots in the Fusoya challenge. You don't ever see Quake at 700. This is the first time I've seen it. I've been playing this game for over 3 years.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of like how strong the weightings were, that it would be quite that rare, but that's a huge bonus early on. I kind of wonder if that will play into how Soleras routes around as well. I mean, he's going to go up to Hobbs, get this character, and I assume Rowdy Roddy Sniper will probably do the same thing. For a Tella, it's a bit more questionable when you already have a Fu. But it kind of makes you wonder, it's like, do you go from here and maybe go to Baron Inn, which you should be able to get down with the Quakes and get another character on top of it and a key item check right away?
Yeah, no, we're going to throw Quakes at a lot of things here. I mean, Fu's got a good enough magic stat that this Quake's hitting for, what, 2,500-ish on bosses. It won't one-shot the second boss in Baron Inn, but it'll come darn close.
It's interesting to finally, like, see Tella in a seed and think that's not really the big benefit that it would be otherwise, because I feel like Tella's one of those characters that, again, is at a bit of a premium in this flag set. And now you kind of already have a Fu. Do you really care quite as much? Do you just replace him early on?
I mean, Rowdy Roddy Sniper decided to say, I actually don't care about Fusoya at all, and just skipped out. So probably going to take this Ice 2 party to full, as our runners are kind of in lockstep here. Soleras nursing a small lead with the kind of the extra check under his belt, but it ended up kind of paying off with a quicker fight at the top of Hobbs, and just generally a quicker fight on Asura as well.
Yeah, and it could continue paying off depending on what's here. Like, the two things that I think of that would, really benefit from having the Quake instead of the Ice 2 would be, like, the Gauntlet, obviously, maybe like a Mom Bomb who gets a bunch of HP, but it is a Sparkle instead, and it looks like we're going to have Plague.
Well, Quake doesn't work on this one, so both our runners are kind of on equal footing here. Ice 2 and quad damage arrows, though, will kind of get us the rest of the way here for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and I think most importantly, too, with Soleras being the two bosses up there, that's going to kind of equalize a little bit, because he's not going to get any advantage out of having that Quake early on that Rowdy Roddy Sniper won't get, because he'll get it right after this. This count's running a bit fast, and it does look, yep, he's going to end up taking a wipe to that there.
Yep. Kind of rough. Two Ice 2s is going to do the job for Soleras, because he does have a little bit of that extra magic power from that Lilith Rod. So very smartly gearing up his Fu to do more black magic damage. And it proves to be enough. So Soleras is going to get through this and give us a look at what do we got. Oh. Hey.
Well, the most difficult of these objectives and the most gated of them is out already, and the guaranteed good weapon for Fu is already there too. So I guess this is just the you want your Fu, and you've wanted a Fu this entire tournament. We're going to give you every bit of success possible. We're going to give you Quake at 700. We're going to give you Forge right away so you can get an endgame weapon for him right at the end. So real big bonuses there.
I mean, like, Fast Forge is nice. I mean, also the Kokol shop is going to have some nice gear in it. A lot of people have been saving their pennies to be able to pick up some ribbons or, grab some other real high-ticket items there that may show up. I love seeing crystal rings, ninja hats. Ninja hats can show up in a gated shop down below as well. So, there's a lot of good things that we can kind of see. Rowdy Roddy Sniper first boss elements here in the Baron Inn, and we'll see what the second boss is in a moment.
But hey, it's another great boss that you can't use Quake on right away to continue adding to that, I guess. But the Cecil as a reward for this is also going to be huge, because this Ordeals is not going to be particularly difficult unless something really screwy happens up here. So once the Soleras goes there, he'll automatically have a Paladin. I have a feeling that Rowdy Roddy Sniper might be tempted to just immediately go to Ordeals after getting this Cecil for taking down Leviathan here, and that's going to be another big bonus if they can at least maybe find a better weapon than the axes, but the axes will do for now.
I mean, Ochre Axe will get you through most of the troublesome stuff in the mid game, so I wouldn't be too worried about it, honestly. Like, you'll get your weapon. Lightsabers oftentimes for sale down below on S standard, so I would not concern myself too greatly with the weapon situation. Dark Elf a little annoying because basically has 2 health pools, so Quake is not going to carry over any bonus damage. You've got to hit it twice. So here comes Quake number 2. Rowdy Roddy Sniper gets Cecil number 1 and the key to the tower. So no Keyless Tower today.
Yep, and it also means that this Mount Ordeals is hard required because it has to gate our underground access to. We've seen Fabul, we've seen every other place, so this has to be it. It'll either lead to a rabbit hole that leads to it, or give us the hook or the magma key, and we'll at least know what kind of seed we're looking at as soon as Soleras gets through this guards fight and whatever lies inside the room.
This doesn't have to be it. This could not be it, in fact.
Oh, demist at Zot is a possibility, isn't it?
I mean, look, we saw Forge on our first 2 items. We saw Quake at 700 hit points. What other silly rare things could we see this seed?
It's a not quite 50-50 chance that this is our underground access. It's weighted, but
it's far weighted in Ordeals' favor, but Soleras is gonna be fearless here in the face of the mountain. Cure 3 is our reward at 1100, so Fu can now play White Mage if he has to as well. I mean, also nuke, but no one cares about that, right? Right?
You don't need nuke. It's
1100 HP nuke. Board fix your AI.
Well, the demist Zot dream is dead, and I guess if you're ever gonna have a seed that's gonna be a hook route, it might as well be the seed that you've got the Fu that's already got nuke and quake.
Hey, it's Ogopogo! Oh, it's no longer Ogopogo. Shoot.
It was Ogopogo for a moment there, and I think sometimes, you just have that really quick visit with your friends. You don't really need to spend a ton of time with them. It's just nice to see them. It's like when you wave at someone at the grocery store. We're just waving at Ogopogo on the way through.
I shoved some dip in the microwave, Ogopogo. You want some? Now I gotta go.
But most importantly, Tele learned Medio as well, so who's the real champion of spellcasting here?
Fusoya. So silly.
Just need to find a Soma drop somewhere, and it'll be.
Oh, there was already one in first chest in Antline Cave.
Perfect. So we've got both old men online. It's Grandpa's Revenge today. We'll do the hook route with that in mind eventually. I guess Soleras will probably go to Baron first, but.
Yeah, because, the just in case, you don't want to do the hook route unless you've checked everything, of course, because if you do a hook route and your opponent doesn't, it's a rare chance that you're going to win the game. So this makes a lot of sense. Fu's about to go on in for Rowdy Roddy Sniper, and he also noticed that he got nuke at 1,000, so he's going to go and set this party up here real quick. We're going to have some queso, we're going to have some chips, and Ogopogo's going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see him either way, I wish there was more time, but we got places to be. That place is gonna be at the rate this is going, we're just gonna have Wyvern and Demist on the hook route, and then Demist will give the Darkness Crystal, and then we'll be in scary go mode. Not quite go mode, but you know.
Oh yeah, we'll be in big scary time, but then Sheila 1 will give us the Twin Harp because we'll want music, and then it'll be perfect.
That just leads to a real interesting question of, what grind do you do in this case, which I would think would be D-Machine, but hard to say.
I mean, almost certainly D-Machines, I think, at this point would be the plan. I don't know what other grind realistically would work here. I mean, you have Cecil. If you get a big stick, you could do Behemoths. You could do Doors, theoretically. If Edge magically shows up on the hook route, then you're going to grab a bunch of Sirens and kill a bunch of Dragons, and it'll be fine either way.
Yeah, I think a secondary question, if we look at level grinds too, is when you have a food that's mostly fully powered up, do you just take moon bosses before you do a grind in this case? Because you can probably get through most all of them, and then actually, have probably 10 key items, have all the extra experience from doing those under your belt, and maybe cut down on the grind later.
I mean, the big thing is that if you get a second big physical fighter, then you don't have to grind, basically. You do moon bosses and you're done. Because, Cecil at level 45 with a Excalibur is a monster, and it's what you want. Soleras, go ahead.
I was just about to say, we have Soleras going into Eblin Castle as well, which I think he's mentioned before he likes doing as a play, and I think it's really always interesting when we see people go here, because there's always that chance that you get that one extremely good drop. Like that Rune Axe could be an extremely good drop there.
This is what Soleras is looking for. It's right here. Soleras is looking to quake and bake some of these boxes for the possibility of getting the big stick for Cecil here.
I mean, get the big stick, and how much more do you really need in this party at this point? It feels like, you know, like you said, you get one more physical attacker, if even that, and then you just go to town.
Also, this is going to put a bunch of levels on Cecil, which is what you want for the hook route, because then he becomes another character with a pile of hit points for you. Ribbon Helmet's a nice pickup. That's a high-powered pickup. It's not strictly what you want, but it nullifies a lot of like the Golbez threat in particular, because now you have a character that can't die. Nullifies Evil Wall if you run into Evil Wall at like a really high hit point spot on the moon. It's no concern anymore because, well, your characters can't die once it gets to crush phase. So nice pickup, certainly. Also has immense magic defense for the end game.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, while Soleras is going through here, this is kind of Rowdy Roddy Sniper's chance to pick up a little bit of an advantage if nothing really huge drops out of these chests for Soleras outside of like the little sort of fringe benefits almost of Ribbon. I don't want to like downplay it, but it's not the big huge game changer that he might have been hoping for. Then he might be able to take a little bit of a lead here and going through that hook route first.
Yeah, we're going to discover the very annoying thing is that Mad Ogres are very magical resistant. Nuke may not kill them.
Oh, looks like he's going to give up on the chest there and just head straight into Eblin Cave instead.
It's a good pickup. A Cursed Ring is amazing with Fu as your hero, because now you can set your Fu to 5 agility. Fu is literally at 20 agility unless you level him past level 70. So that rules. You now have an agility anchor if you want an agility anchor and are not using Fu as your main DPS. Double Serpents there for Soleras as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Cave Eblin pasta shop not particularly exciting today because of the lack of Iridia and not having elixirs in it instead, but, you know, it's nice to always support local businesses where you can.
Mute Knives, ninja hats, lots of nice stuff here for sure, so I'm happy to see a lot of these things. I don't know if they're going to get much use, but Cecil is great, and this is pretty great. Rowdy Roddy Sniper also dipping into Eblin Cave for a little bit. We'll see if he finds the third and final encounter chest that Soleras did not on this route here in Center Tower. So there it is, and we'll see if he can quake the Black Cats and Lemia for experience on Cecil and possibly a big stick here.
There's also the question of if he has a thought in his head on the way to get around the Mad Ogre fight, then what drops from that too? Because there are a few other options that Soleras just ended up not taking in terms of resetting out, which, you know, it's a valid decision to not want to sink too much time into that fight, but it could be something.
I saw Crystal for a moment. I took a long, deep breath and then saw the ring icon and went, oh, not quite.
We have a Crystal at home. Crystal at home.
Rough break for sure. I mean, like, Crystal Sword is tier 8 now. Like, there's been a tier 8 added to the game, so there's like a 1% chance that you get it from there. So it's not a thing that you gamble on for sure, but hey, it could happen. Hey, how many white mages do we have now?
4. How is your party of Cecil and 4 different people who can cast Berserk feeling to you at this point in time?
I mean, Rosa can equip a bow and gets decent strength and can be angry too, I guess. I don't know. This party rules. This is my favorite party in the game. Telefu, Rosa, Porum, and Cecil.
It really just is literally everyone in the game who can cast white magic, isn't it?
Correct. I am here for white mage party time.
Absolutely, and I really do kind of hope we find a heroin robe somewhere and we do get Let Rosa Hit Things hour, because that could be, those two physical attackers plus Fu setup for the end game too, and you could actually probably take this party to the end and just get through the Z fight relatively easily with that sort of setup.
Yeah, I mean, slow won't be a problem. White casts won't be a problem. Fu's got nuke. Yeah, it'll be fine. Cecil can chip in a little bit at the early part of the fight and then goes Chemist. Yeah, I love this. This is great. Soleras does not want to fight ogres, by the way. You can see he's skipping all the chests now for a direct beeline run, while Rowdy Roddy Sniper's in a bit of a looting mode here, which is fine. I always like looting here. I think that, this is just a really good spot for gearing out.
Definitely, and one thing I'm seeing over on Soleras' side too, the secondary advantage of finding that Rosa is being able to unequip her bow, put it on Cecil, and get him that long-range bit set as well, so he can do full damage to enemies in the back row, do full damage from the back row. It's got a lot of benefits to it, so one of those nice little fringe benefits of finding an already good character is it can sometimes make your other characters better as well.
Here we go. It's... Oh, come on. It's Water Hag. Oh, Rose is really dead. Oh, Tella's really dead.
It's an extremely punchy Water Hag that's quite fast.
Hey, Porum's really dead.
This is a free fight, by the way.
In air quotes. Severe, extreme air quotes.
This is the scariest Water Hag I've seen in a very, very long time. I guess Fu's only getting hit for 360, so you'll be able to get through it fine, but still.
But everyone else, there's going to be no experience gained other than on Cecil, which I guess is just fine at this point.
Yeah, I kind of think it only really hurts on Rosa, because as much as I like seeing seeds in which you actually take Porum through, I kind of expect that Porum and Tella would end up being the first two characters replaced out of this party if they wanted to pick someone else. So At this point, it only really hurts on Rosa, I feel.
Also, I crossed it up. There's no experience at the spot. All the experience is here behind... Is this Dark Imps?
Revenge of the free bosses continues, it seems.
I mean, who would win? 5 intrepid heroes or 3 punchy boys? This bot's physical damage is not great, though, so this should be just fine. Maybe Tella gets a week off, but it's unlikely. But Cecil's not taking any damage from this. Fu's not going to take any damage from this, so this should be pretty academic.
Yeah, it'll just be drop a couple quakes and get through. So a pretty easy hook route, all things considered. It's just a bit trickly, punchily one, so... This seed is really being nice to our runners today.
Yeah, trying to land the stone with Tella and just, Tella's doing Tella things. And now raising up Rosa, wants Rosa to get the experience from this fight, potentially. Rowdy Roddy Sniper did find the Mad Ogres and is using that Ogre X to good effect here to get Cecil continued levels.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what drops out of this trap chest here, because I feel like anytime we can get, another trap chest, it's like a great slot machine moment, and I'm always excited for those.
Absolutely, but 26-23 hook route, blazing fast. Soleras is through.
I'm trying to think of times when I've seen faster hook routes, and I'm not coming up with any at the moment.
It does not happen terribly often.
So here's another interesting question. You have the Fu, who's very strong. We're probably about to see who the boss is at the top of the tower, and it looks like an Octomam. Do you go for Dwarf Castle from here, or do you just go out, turn back around, immediately go back in the tower and get those 2 chests?
I mean, I'm definitely forging first. I like the play of just going back in. It's Antlion at the top, which is a bit of a pain. It's just a pile of hit points. with this party and this, we've already got a bunch of levels from doing hook route and everything. Maybe you just touch down and patch up and go straight up the tower. I like both plays at this point. I like, because you want to forge too. I like everything here. Anything is good right now.
I think if you think you want to forge first, you probably end up going to Dwarf Castle, and if not, you maybe consider Tower. It does look like Soleras has immediately landed, is healing everyone up with Rydia, or not Rydia, Rosa, so I think we're about to see a tower dive here.
Yeah, Fu's got a ton of gas in the tank here, so I guess it's assuming that, you know, Fu's going to carry the day. Yes, spoilers.
That's just the theme of this seed today, is it's Fu has been on vacation, he's just been called into work, and he's angry about it, and he's just gonna get everything done very efficiently, very quickly, so he can go back to relaxing on the beach somewhere.
Look, my man knows when the pager goes off that he's got to be there, though, so I respect that.
Exactly, not leaving anyone hanging, but also respecting his own free time enough to just really want to be able to get back to it. It's a good work-life balance as much as you can have when you're on call in that sort of situation, and I definitely respect it.
So Soleras goes straight to the top, skipping all of the encounter chests. Rowdy Roddy Sniper is through the hag of water here. But we'll get to see the 3 imps hanging out in a moment. Without Fu, I don't know if he has Stone or not, or an IK from Fu. So we'll see how he decides to deal with this, probably by throwing Quakes at it.
I would imagine. I mean, I don't think anything poses much of a threat right now is the whole thing. I think about the only thing in this tower that could potentially be really annoying at this point is probably like if there was Golbez in the cannon room, making you have to sit through the cutscene first. But even that's like not a problem as much as it is just really obnoxious.
I love cutscenes.
I mean, I'm very pro cutscenes. I just don't think our runners are as pro cutscenes, in which case, you know, oh well. We're here to put on a show, they're gonna have to put on a show at some point.
The other thing is that neither our runners did a big deep shop this seed, so I don't think anybody's got like, I don't think there's like ethers on tap here for the team.
That is a potential problem, yeah.
But there is that Lilith Rod, so Fu is going to go ahead and steal Cecil's MP really quickly.
I always forget how much HP this top of tower spot has, because it feels like it should have a lot less than it does, but it always takes like 2 or 3 rounds longer than I expected to, but is through it very quickly. Gets a Luca key for his trouble, so it looks like this seed is wanting us to continue clearing underground now that we've done the full base clear of Earth.
Yeah, that's legitimate. It makes things easier right now too. I mean, Soleras has issued the Sheila 1 check for now because, you know, again, Sheila 1 can't quite get us into go mode on her own. I'm going to pass up the freebie and Fey March right now for a quick dive here, which I think is fine. Rowdy Roddy Sniper went for a different safety on Dark Imps, decided to go Toad first and turn them into frogs, and now they cannot hurt his party. So easy peasy free as a bird, and he will be through in just a moment. Speaking of easy peasy free as a bird, is this where you wanted to see the king and queen?
I mean, as someone who's just watching the race, I don't mind seeing king and queen at a spot where it's already going to be an easy spot, because I like seeing difficult bosses, because I like seeing the way the runners gets around them. So in this case, just getting good old Keblin and Queblin out of the way here is gonna make it so that they're not taking up like that cave Bahamut spot and making that a bit anticlimactic later.
We could be living the dream right now. Required Kainatsu at the Murasame altar. Required Volvalis at the Masamune altar.
That's the real dream.
That's the dream right there. That dream is horrifying, and I shouldn't have it, but I still have it after all these years. It's terrible. Make Volvalis stop.
This is why the commentary job is fun. It's like 60%, 70% spreading knowledge about the seed, and about 10% coming up with nightmare scenarios where you'd like the seed to go from here. Which I really need to stop with, because they keep coming true.
Yeah, no, it's really bad when they come true. So Rowdy Roddy Sniper is going to go Forge right away, and then likely, like you said, Dwarf Castle after this, which is pretty cool. I mean, Soleras has got a little bit more information on the seed at this point in time, and is going to get the second item check out of the way here, and it is... Sandrock.
How much do you even care about Sandrock right now?
Like, I want edge. Like, you left the boxes in... You've got the alerts sitting there in the tower. You can get sirens, which will smooth things out a little bit. Could do doors. We do have a Luca key.
Well, we got a Triton dagger out of the Super Smith, so that's just a dagger with 15 extra intelligence on it. It's not hugely exciting, but it is just a good stat stick at least.
It's a fancy Stardust Rod.
Can Fu even equip daggers?
He could equip that one. Otherwise, no.
Right. You know what? I was looking at the sheet from the advanced version, and I forgot that I think when they added in Super Smith, they actually added a few so that Fu wouldn't only have like one weapon he can use. Although I don't think you could re-add Fu to your party in the other versions anyways, so it might just not have been an option to begin with.
Yeah, Soleras is going to go here. First boss is Dark Knight Cecil, which does about 1200 damage to everybody. Cecil and Fu both survive, and then channels out a Cure 3 at the end of the fight, so as to make sure that his two boys have got some hit points going into the second fight in Dwarf Castle here. So good, sensible play, because you can buffer out you can buffer out one action between the third wave and some Justice. Again, no experience on the dead casters though, which is a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, I feel like in any other seed that might be a pretty big problem. I just think in this case it really is just an annoyance. And seeing Baigen at this spot is another great example of taking out a potentially difficult boss in a much lower HP situation. But how do you feel about a Kane?
Well, I think Soleras is very happy. There's your second big... So you've got 2 hitters and 3 casters, and you love this. This is the party comp, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could take this to endgame if you wanted really easily, and I think you wouldn't even really have to do much in the way of grinding. You could probably just get through the rest of the seed, just actually taking on bosses and progressing, especially if the rest of the seed is buried, because we know that we still have 2 other objectives gated behind key items that we haven't seen yet. So if those are buried deep, I mean, you might not even need to do much of a grind, if any at all.
Yeah, Fu just, of course, embarrasses Baigen here for our enjoyment, because Baigen's terrible and we hate him. So now that he's dead, we're all very happy. You got Rowdy Roddy Sniper also setting up the Cure 3 here. Also going to keep Porum alive here, so going to put some levels on Porum right now. So kind of catching a break there. But what do we get for all of this effort right now?
An IOU for a later key item in the Rat Tail, which we already have the hook to turn in, but it's just kind of, watch this space. You'll see what key item is soon, if it is one.
Yeah, notably, tiaras are for sale down here as well, so if you want to put tiaras on your Rosa, and I mean, I guess for Rowdy Roddy Sniper, your Porum, that does exist as an option here, so, but going to clear some inventory space first, is in the weapon shop right now. Cleaning house, and I don't remember what was in here. Cat claws for the Yang we don't have. Okay, that's cool.
You know, thinking about it and looking over at Rowdy Roddy Sniper's side, at very least having a Baigen in this spot does mean that the creeping hand cutscene afterwards does make even more sense than it did when it was Golbez.
It really does, you're right. Wild.
Because it doesn't, like, walk over, it sort of snakes its way, and if you have snake hands, that would make this whole cutscene make way more sense in this case.
I don't think I could deal with having snake hands. They're not very good at holding utensils.
I feel like it would be incredibly awkward no matter what, just because it's just like, it feels bendy in that case, and I never wanted bendable arms. This is going a horrible place. I'm not going to think about this any further.
Alright, this was actually terrible. I apologize, everyone. This was actually bad. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, please don't pay any mind to like the past 30 seconds of what I specifically was saying. It is a nightmare scenario.
It's fine, and we'll fix it in post.
Perfect. This isn't going out live or anything, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. It won't be on the YouTube channel tomorrow.
Perfect. That's all I really needed to know.
Power shirts for sale here, so Soleras is going to take his those pennies that he was saving up and going to go ahead and buy one for probably for Cecil, honestly, let's be real.
Yeah, and I gotta think, like, maybe even come back later if you get enough for a second one and get another power shirt for your cane at this point, and hey, there's your equipment mostly sorted out outside of the weapon.
Yeah,
also, welcome raiders over from the Free Enterprise channel.
Hey everybody, yeah, you're here, you're watching Soleras, you're watching Rowdy Roddy Sniper, you're watching a sub-30 hook route, and you're watching Fu, do some damage.
This, I don't want to spoil what's happened earlier in this, because if you're just coming in on the raid, I highly recommend when this hits YouTube, you go back and watch the start of the seed, because it was absolutely wild, and not in like a difficult way, but it is one of the most interesting starts to a seed I've seen in a long time.
Yep, and so Sniper is retracing the steps up the tower. Soleras got an IOU for a possible crystal sword, but we're not 100% sure. There is a lunar sparkle down here in the Leviathan throne. That could be our Wyvern.
Indeed. I don't think we'll ever, in any world in which it's not mandatory, and in several worlds in which you still have K-Summon on, which is not this seed, ever see anyone willingly take on Queen Golbez down there. But that sparkle's exciting. It does look like he's going to go back and check it, so that is going to be very good to know. I think that's the third sparkle we've seen, and the other one was in Baron Castle, so we haven't seen what it actually is yet.
Yeah, but you gotta know, it is required. So it is D-Lunars, so in no world are we fighting that here. That fight is a nuisance. I hate it. Let's leave. Okay, let's go.
But you can give Tello the Soma drop, and you can use the double medium.
And for leaving.
Okay. I'm just here to make bad decisions on behalf of our
And for leaving. We hate those.
Okay, sure. So Soleras is gonna dive the Sylph Cave now and prep Sheila, and I gotta think that if you're already prepping Sheila, then you're probably not going into Sealed Cave if you're in Soleras' shoes, because if you were willing to come down here without the pan, you probably would have come down here sooner. And if you were waiting for the pan, you probably would have done Luca Cave before coming down here. So I gotta think that he's gonna go back up and check both Sheila 1 and the Rat Tail and the Pink Tail, which he got from, I believe, Feymarch, right away.
Yep. Yeah, it was a freebie from Feymarch. So yeah, there's a bunch of up top checks now. Well, at least the two, which is pretty useful here, considering, again, you're right, the only other thing we have on deck right now would be Cave Sealed, which Soleras does not seem quite so interested in yet.
Yeah, definitely. And the only downside to this potential play is that it's kind of a low incentive to ever go back down for Sealed Cave at this point, because it's basically all you have left underground if you're in Soleras' shoes. And so because of that, if Rowdy Roddy Sniper goes for it and finds like the Darkness Crystal or something else, then he could gain a bit of a lead in a theoretical situation there. But on the whole, it feels like a good play.
Yeah, especially because it's two checks up here at this point in time. You've got Sheila 1 and the Rat Tail, and you just need one of them to be like Baron Key or Twin Harp, and you are super rewarded for just ignoring Sealed Cave.
Absolutely. It's very highly incentivized, and well, there goes the dream. The Darkness Crystal is behind the Rat Tail.
There we are. All right. I love this now. You know what this means?
We're gonna go to the moon.
I mean, we're going to take our white dress up to the moon, I think.
Absolutely perfect. I feel like this is a really good party for taking on early moon bosses too, so I kind of wouldn't be surprised if once Soleras goes and checks that Sheila 1, he just heads straight to Mysidia and heads to the moon. Looks like he's gonna go over this way. Gonna check the Sand Ruby first.
Gonna check the Sand Ruby. I guess wants maybe a slingable character here. Might be trying to set up a slingshot if possible. And then do D machines and then go destroy the moon in rapid fashion.
That is a good question that our Restreamer Cubs rule just brought up in chat here, as we do see it as an edge in this bed.
Never mind, let's go get some more sirens. We've got 2, let's go get like 12.
Absolutely. Do you go for a 10th key item before you go for that grind at this point when Soleras is sitting at 9?
You've got Sheila 1. Sheila 1 is free, and then you'd still, I think you face check Luca Cave just in case, and if you've got 10 key items, you can do eggs. You don't even have to go up to the moon to grind. Eggs are the fastest grinds if you have basically infinite resources.
Absolutely, and where you don't really need that many levels in this party, you don't really even need that many eggs too, so this could even just be a really short level grind at this point too.
Also, look at all this gear we've got for Edge. We've got like double longswords, ninja helmet, ninja or headband, ninja shirt to upgrade from the black belt. This rules. This is fantastic.
I feel like if you were trying to design a seed to be as nice as to our runners as humanly possible on these flags, this is a very good candidate for what you would land on.
Yeah, this is just fantastic all the way around here. Look at this party. Look at this equipment. Right, like this equipment is this is through the roof type stuff in a lot of slots at this point.
Absolutely, it's almost hard to talk about this seed in a way because like it's so nice that it's kind of like, well, you just have everything. So it really is just a matter of who goes where, and the only thing is what is on that moon. As again, Cubs just pointed out, you know, we've got a lot of nasty bosses still out there. We've still got the Kenatsu, still got the Valvalis, still got, of course, Wyvern in a bad location. There's some pretty scary stuff out there still.
Yeah, and of course, Soleras ends up shipping the TR instead of equipping it to Rosa unless he had 2, and is just going to go grab some cabins. Is going to go ahead and hang a right here, Sheila 1 real quick. We have all the grinds in the world are open to us. Literally, if there is a grind that you have done in a free enterprise seed in the last 3 years, it is available right now. You can do anything you want.
You can do anything you want, and it doesn't feel like there's necessarily 100% correct answer here. If you're in Soleras' shoes and you have 10 key items, then I would think that if you think you can get through moon bosses, you might be tempted to just do those, get the experience from that, and then get the last few. But we have a vanilla pan from Sheila. So now what do? Do you
keep
chasing that?
You chase it. Keep checking. We're not leaving here yet.
Secondary question, if you're going down for that pan bonk, are you tempted to quickly peek Sealed Cave and leave a save on the outside, reset back to it, since you know now you really have no other reason to go underground once you get this Sheila 2 down?
No, I would love the check on the Sealed Cave here. It feels correct. You don't want to leave that thread hanging potentially because, I mean, it's a little bit over a 2-minute run, but you just don't want to leave that thread hanging. But Soleras knows how he wants to grind this out. He's like, I got Edge. It's time. Let's open some boxes. Maybe I'll get a Crystal Sword, or an Avenger, or a laser saber, or gold-plated tie pin. Nothing.
I mean, there's a lot of nice things that could be in the chest at this point in time, but we are going to see this bit of a siren grind here, so this is going to be a little bit on this. Fu going to knock everyone out quickly here in this case. Rowdy Roddy Sniper, on the other hand, heading down to the Silk Cave to prep Sheila 1 and sort of following in Soleras' footsteps here. So a little bit behind at this point, but definitely not out of it from here.
Man, I wish we still had Porum, though. We could cry, which increases your steal chance, which means we'd be here less time.
Absolutely. And this is why, maybe taking the form over the Rosa might have been the correct decision.
Look, I will find any reason.
I'm not saying that it's the right decision, but I am saying that there is a world in which you could justify taking the forum in this case.
Yeah, Rowdy Roddy Sniper doing a little bit of shopping and going to do a little bit of looting here at the back. We have a numerical tool programmer for our job dwarf today.
Don't tell him about what I just said about forum. He'll show me how I'm wrong, probably.
Look, some people don't like forum, and those people are wrong. It's fine.
It's true, but,
I mean, Rosa is objectively a better white mage, especially for our purposes at this point in time, because, she's going to get 2,000 plus hit points, where Forum only gets 2,000 plus hit points when, you sling her or otherwise have a way of getting a ton of experience really fast.
Yep, but in terms of interesting developments over on Rowdy Roddy Sniper's side, we are about to see the sealed cave check, and of course, everyone's favorite and fun minigame in FF4, Dodge the Rope of Shame, will be coming up here very, very shortly, so make sure you're getting your guesses in for that right now. You don't have very long. You can also confirm, for those curious, having played the remaster, that they have removed the Rope of Shame, so now you have to actually walk into the ropes, and that's just kind of unfortunate.
Wow, spoilers.
Sorry, apologies ahead of time that the Rope of Shame has been nerfed. But it looks like Rowdy Roddy Sniper deciding that he needs to go heal first. So probably going to head right back to the sealed cave from there based off of dropping the save outside. So we'll see what that is, just a little bit of delay here.
Oh, Edge got to survive that hit. Oh, that was really dicey for a moment there. Trying to take on this serpent here, but the problem is that, oh boy! Yeah, that was almost really sketchy there, Soleras. Almost throwing away his Siren Stealing there. Does get through, but woo! Spicy.
And who said grinds aren't exciting? Not the kind of excitement we wanted out of it, but has managed to get those Sirens, I believe, stopped at 10. So pretty confident in not needing a ton of experience, and it looks like he's just going to go ahead and grab that experience right now, which I guess if you're doing Sirens, you might as well just get your grind out of the way while you're already down here, since again, you have no other reason for coming back underground outside of that sealed cave at this point.
Yep, it's all over at this point. I mean, so here we go. We're gonna put Fu in the middle. Gonna set up some Sirens. Already popped the cabin. I mean, at this point in time, 10 Sirens is what, 680,000 experience points. If you're assuming that you're also going to have to clear some moon bosses, you are going to be so powerful for the end game, it's going to be silly.
Yeah, and I like seeds like this, because you would think, you get the seed that's really charitable and it gives you everything, and you would think it would kind of like flatten out skill difference a little bit in terms of our runners, but I find that often these really easy seeds, easy being relative in this case, kind of bring out the best in everyone, because it really forces you to optimize every little thing. It looks like Rowdy Roddy Sniper has found a Zeus Gauntlet at the bottom of Sealed Cave. I guess he's going to check this boss and then, yep, immediately reset out. So that Sealed Cave is pretty much not going to be worth going through at this point.
Yeah, basically that was not Wyvern, that was not Mist Dragon. We have literally zero interest in anything that's going on there then.
Yep, he's going to head back up above ground, going to get those few checks that we've already seen in this case. Sheila 1 with the Pan, Darkness Crystal from the Rat Tail. While Soleras is going through this egg grind, now is a great time, by the way, to give a quick shout out to our behind the scenes team today. Both Cubs Rule on the restream and Taco Bowl doing the tracking today. Both doing an amazing job as always, and a big thank you to them. And also make sure you give the runners a follow as well, because they're both amazing and talented people in addition to being great runners of this game. So please make sure you check them out as well.
Yeah, now not messing around. I think Soleras got one bad virus roll the last time around and got beat up a little bit by the dragon, and was just like, I'm good. Gonna quake you now.
Dragons are always scarier than they appear in terms of this. It's the one thing I've noticed is like the theme of this tournament. It looks like he's going to take off now. He might not be doing his entire grind at this point.
Maybe deciding to take the rest on the moon, or is going to go ahead up here and pops a siren for a centipede. I know what this is. He's stealing a silk web.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar 100% with the randomizer and with FF4 in general, Silk Web is an item that was, I believe, dummied out for the original North American release that basically acts as a stronger slow than the slow spell and could be extremely useful for the Zemus fight later on. So that's why you would end up stealing for that in this case. And so really good game knowledge there from Soleras to know you go for that.
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do either, but yeah, that was an interesting use of a siren certainly. And yeah, it's one slow for Zemus, but it stacks it to the maximum. Which, if your agility is going to be weird, and oftentimes in these flags your agility is going to be like super weird, hey, I'm gonna make it work.
A Moonveil from the Sylphs as well, with a K summon off, obviously, that can't be a key item in this case. I think Moonveil is one of the best options you can get there outside of like a Crystal Sword for the Cecil.
Moonveil has been promoted to tier 7 for a reason. It's really good because it gives you full physical immunity for a fight, so it's really good.
Absolutely, and with some of the scarier bosses still out on the table, that could be a huge difference too. If you use it against the right boss, could trivialize something more or less. So, interesting to see how he uses that Moonveil long term here. Really, we'll wait and see.
More importantly, we are literally just Sheila 2 away from answering the most important question of them all.
Are we going to go to the moon?
I don't know. Are we? We might have to go to the moon.
I am not sure it is going at any point beyond that going to be physically possible to not decide to go to the moon. So we'll go to the moon in the best way you go to anywhere, by default.
Heck yeah. But also, it's just exciting, because the moon is cool, and full of danger, and threats, and power, but also full of experience points and loot.
And there's a lot of things that were up there, too, because obviously the Baron Key and the Twin Harp are important, but also, like, the pass, because I feel like if you go to the moon in this case, you want to be able to leave to do those rabbit holes, and then hopefully not have to go back to the moon. So our runners might be kind of looking to full clear the moon, and then head back down and never see the moon again at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. But, also, this just means that something on the moon other than just Cave Bahamut is required. The other thing, though, is that Sheila 2 could just chain out. Like, it could be Harp into Baron Key. And that would just be our straight-up go mode, then go up to Bahamut Cave, and then you're done.
Absolutely, and, it could also be Wyvern at one of those locations and skip the Cave Bahamut, too, at this point. There's many ways this could basically try and remove the moon from the equation. But we'll see in a moment here, because Soleras has finished that little bit of a sealed cave check, is going to be saying goodbye to the underground almost certainly for forever, unless he decides he needs a couple more sirens, and he'll be heading on to that Sheila 2 check very shortly.
Yeah, the last check he's got at this point, so... Rowdy Roddy Sniper, I think, is just... this is a whale raising at this point.
Whale raising maybe going to check the character, but I don't really know what character you'd be looking for at this point, because I don't think I personally would replace anyone in this party at this point.
Probably not. He might be looking to D-Machine grind, though, because maybe he didn't check the edge, so he doesn't know that edge is a Kaipo. So he may be looking to maybe slam some D-Machines for his experience and be done with it that way. Here's our pan drop. It's a package! That's technically a boss check, but it's not a chain in any way, other than if Mist Dragon is there, so... Possum is stating that Forum was replaced with Edge on RS's side. Okay, thank you. I might have missed that. I had to step away for a sec.
Do you check the package?
Absolutely not. No way. Go to the moon. 100%.
What if you check the package as a gamble and it pays off? What if it's D-Machine into Baron Key that's gating the Twin Harp and Wyvern is down at the Dark Elf location?
Then, my friend, you deserve to win this race. We're going to the moon. Don't take this from me. I've been waiting for this all day.
But why have a sub-hour moon when you could have a slightly longer than an hour moon from waiting through the package cutscene?
58 minutes. Rowdy Roddy Sniper is going to be on his way up. He does not. He's actually on 10 key items as well. We've got Soleras on 11 with that package from Sheila 2 that RRS did not check. But yeah, 1 hour we're on the moon. This rules. I'm here for this. It's going to come down to moon clear speed, it looks like.
Absolutely, and it's not even just like a sub-hour moon, too. It's a sub-hour moon with basically everything except the rabbit holes down on Earth checked. Obviously, RRS hasn't gone through all of that yet, but we know that basically Soleras has just spent a lot of time on kind of a bit of a wild goose chase, so he might be in even a little bit of a tiny advantage outside of the grind necessary. We do see a karate, so another quote-unquote free fight here at Cape Bahamut.
Yeah, we've got Cecil, so the big thing in this script is that Karate Man will take 4 turns. It'll be swing, kick, and if your Cecil is alive and can swing away after the second kick, which is not going to be the case, or maybe timed it right? No, missed the timing a little bit. There's a window that opens there before the kick goes off. Anytime now that Cecil swings away and hits Karate Man now will cause ouch and cause the fight to end instantly.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate Cecil ended up not surviving, but does have life 2 on that Fu, so it's just a matter of getting back to his turn at this point. Actually gonna cast a Blink for safety, too.
Yeah, no problem here for Soleras. Just gets good attack rolls and is going to drop the Karate Man first. Ouch on both sides. 70,000 experience on both sides. Not going to be a key item. It is a summon monster spot, but it is the Zeus Gauntlet, so we get a dupe Zeus Gauntlet, and both players are going to light up objective number 3 at basically the same time.
That's a pretty interesting pickup. How strong is this Cecil gonna be in endgame? Like, we're really just one good weapon away from, you know, max power Cecil at this point. You got the power shirt, you got the Zeus Gauntlet, you pretty much got everything you could hope for.
I mean,
it just looks like RRS is heading to the Giant.
Yeah, RRS needs levels, and again, is not going to steal Sirens or anything. He's going to go up to the Giant and do Giant for experience. Possible Wyvern gamble here as well. Wyvern could be on the Giant also, which would be very, very interesting. It would not be a key item, however. There's no key item here. It's a play. It's got to get your level somehow, so I like it.
I think whether or not this ends up being better or worse than Sirens does end up kind of being a question of what those Giant bosses are. You know, if not, I can almost feel like the Sirens might have been a little bit faster at that point. But I guess if you're in RS's shoes, you don't really have many reasons to head back underground outside of the pan at this point. So
yeah,
might as well head to the Giant just because you don't want to head back underground unless you have to.
The tough thing for RS is that he passed the character in the lunar at the lunar dais, and it was Rydia. So he could have had a Sling Rydia here instead and just slingshotted her to nuke on 540,000 experience points.
It is a bit unfortunate, but I think if there's any seed in which that bit of unfortunateness is mitigated, it's probably this one, thankfully.
That's fair. We do have Cecil, Kane, and Edge, so I guess it's fine. It's fine. I just like slingshotting Rydia because then you get her power without the great trouble of time.
We like to see Rydia succeed. I like to see Rydia succeed. I mean, you know, I'm sad I didn't get the Rydia too.
these flags have been great for Rydia, honestly. Like, I think that Rydia's with Leviathan at tier 5. Leviathan's been popping up in the Evelyn or in the Cave Evelyn shop an awful lot. Like, it's been good times for Rydia, these flags for sure. Probably more Rydia play than I've seen in probably 2 years in Grand Enterprise, honestly, in terms of people going, man, Rydia, not that bad.
Yeah, and it's always really exciting to see how these flag changes each tournament really change how people perceive characters too, because we had, you know, Lolly Ho League where we had Fu basically unrestricted, and so a lot of seeds did end up kind of being like, if you find Fu first, you have a pretty big advantage, and that sort of distorted it in that way. But even like the changes for this one, in which you can only get Fu if you're both going to have him, sort of is push some of those other characters a bit in there, and it looks like Rowdy Sniper has had to reset out of the Giant.
Interesting. He comes back down to Earth here.
I'm wondering if he had not set up his grind properly and wanted to first, but it looks like he's going to head underground, maybe realizing, oh, I have Edge, I'm going to go steal Sirens instead, or maybe he's, yeah, it looks like he's going to go check Sheila.
Yeah, maybe he realized he had the pan while he was up there. Also, that reset did. Oh wow, that reset made him lose the Karate Man fight as well. Looking at his objectives there.
Yeah, that is deeply unfortunate loss there, especially since we know the Sheila 2 will only end up being a package. It's not something he can't come back from, but that does sting quite a bit.
Giving a runner at Soleras' tier 5 free minutes, though, is literally the last thing that you want to be doing at any time.
Absolutely, but we'll see what he makes of it at this point in time. You know, all of our runners are all really good at sort of making the best out of bad situations, and so I have faith that he'll be able to sort of bring this back a little bit, as we just see Soleras now getting through this Kaipo guards fight pretty quickly here. And we'll see what ends up being the result here. I think this is the Ribbon Room.
Yeah, this is Ribbon Room first, so we're going to get a look at the 2 boxes here. It's a pass and a silver apple. So there's the pass that you mentioned earlier. It has come to pass, in fact.
Yeah, I think it's the best consolation prize here in this case, is getting that pass. Because, you know, you don't want to do Tower of Zot unless you have to. The Treasury probably doesn't really hold anything worthwhile to you at this point. Spoon is Spoon. Magna Key is you're already underground. And hey, speaking of other nice bosses that can be on this lunar subterrane, how about the dolls at the White Spear altar?
This is one Quake and go. This is great. I love this.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be able to get through this fight pretty quickly. Does have that cast already underway, so gonna be getting through this, and we'll end up seeing what's behind this White Spear altar. But that altar down below is getting scarier by the moment as these other free bosses get taken out of the pool early.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, but we'll see. There's a power shirt, so not an item. There's still, yeah, like you said, Kainazo's still out there. Ruby can be kind of nasty down here. Valvalla's still on the table. Wyvern still is kind of rough on the moon, even if it's not strictly going to make a nuke you off the bat. So things are getting interesting.
Yep, and Soleras very confident going down into this fight. Did not bother to save after that fight, guessing, you know, if you lose the power shirt, it's not a huge deal in this case anyways. So we're going to see what's down here at this altar next, as Rowdy Roddy Sniper sort of retraces his steps, and that is a gauntlet.
It is the gauntlet. Oh no, he resets instantly. He doesn't want any part of those Red Dragon's evil masks. Some of the nastiest encounters in the game are waiting there. It's one of my favorite spots for it.
That's gotta be the most difficult gauntlet in the game, I would imagine.
By a wide margin.
Oh, I hope it's required now.
Heat ray your friends. Heat ray your enemies. Heat ray your food in the microwave.
It's potentially beautiful if that ends up being it. Not for our runners, but for me personally. But I guess we'll end up seeing what's in these other two altars first. I get a feeling that if that's the case, that package is looking good. It's a Kenatsu.
This is the best spot for Kainazo because his health is fairly low in this spot, so it's not so bad. It doesn't help that Fu just got dinged for like 1800, but I think Soleras doesn't care at this point.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Honestly, I think even if Fu falls in this fight, you're probably gonna get through this with the rest of it at this point.
Yeah, gonna use Thor Rages to break the wave, and he's probably in great shape here, honestly, with this party.
I didn't even notice he'd queued up the Thor Rage at that point. I was just sitting here like that. Oh, well, I guess the wave is going to go off and take down the Fu anyways. It was not quite quick enough on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but look at the levels on his party right now. Like his Rose has got life 2 and Cure 4, and Edge is at 2,000 health. Cecil's at 3k. I'm pretty sure Soleras is not too terribly worried here.
Yeah, if you want anyone to drop in this party too, you might as well take the one that's going to benefit the least from any extra experience you might pick up, because Fu's not really going to be gaining too much from getting another level here and there compared to like your Rosa, who could use a bit of extra health, your Edge, who's still in that sort of sketchy health territory right now as well.
I mean, Fu's going to get health either way, but he's going to raise up the Fu for probably dropping a nuke to finish the job here.
Yep, and we'll end up seeing what's at this Crystal Sword altar. Remember, the hard required alt gauntlet at the worst place for the alt gauntlet in the game, Dream, is still alive. And it does look like Rowdy Roddy Sniper now is actually going to end up checking this lunar altar, and it might... I wonder if he's going to try and just dive the moon at this point from that bit of loss of time. And also, it looks like a defense sword, so hey, there's your Kane weapon sorted out.
I mean, that's even the Cecil weapon at this point. Either way, it's like... I mean, at this point, I was severely wishing for a defense sword, so hey, it's pretty good.
Definitely is going to move that Ogre Axe on the Kane, put the defense sword on the Cecil, and go from there. And I will assume is now going to be heading back upstairs to check out what is at that first altar.
I mean, we haven't found anything that takes us back to Earth yet. We have not found a key item.
We absolutely haven't. So what happens if you get, say, the nightmare scenario in this case of the magma key or the spoon at that first altar? Do you go down and check the alt gauntlet that you know is going to be rough?
You have to. You don't really have a choice, do you?
The only other choice is gambling on not needing that alt gauntlet and heading down and checking either first Zot spot or package for demist.
That's silly. I could never. Rowdy Roddy Sniper gonna top to bottom here, so let's look at... He's gonna get a quick look at the Murasame altar just before Soleras does, and it is... Well, we've got a ribbon. This is probably fine. It's Evil Wall here at the Murasame altar. A pretty nasty fighter, though, for sure. But, you know, again, this party is pretty equipped for it, but you'll notice Soleras has just got levels on RRS right now, and that's such a big deal for this fight in particular, because these hard-hitting fights, just hit point pool is so important.
It really is, and I was almost going to say, you know, if RRS can get through this fight quickly, then he could get a bit of an advantage on Soleras if he gets something that drives him to immediately gamble on going back down to Earth for it. But at this point in time, they got here roughly the same time, and Evil Wall is Evil Wall. So I gotta think that this is still a pretty big advantage to Soleras, and we'll probably end up seeing him get out of this fight first at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta pour on the DPS here. Nuke's a great spell, don't get me wrong, but again, Fu is your anchor, and that's not always the best for getting through a fight like this in terms of using Fu as your DPS.
I think that's something we haven't really talked about as potential issues for doing a grindless moon in this case, is that how rough is that grindless gonna be moon gonna be when you have that foo locking your whole party to be based around that 20 agility?
Yeah, it really makes you want to have a cursed ring to get him to 5. And then you're just using Berserk as your damage output because you don't really get a choice in the matter. But you could see like Edge swinging for 2,500 and Cecil with that defense sword swinging for over 3k now for Soleras, and RRS is not getting that kind of output from anybody in his party other than these Foo nukes. So Soleras gets down there second, but gets through it first.
I'm actually a tiny bit worried about RRS getting through this with the speed that this wall is coming at him at this point, with this damage output he's got, because I feel like there's a chance he might not even have the damage to get through before the crushes start coming out.
I can't believe Soleras is going to ultra fade the gauntlet there.
I mean, I guess you leave that save down there at the Crystal Sword altar and head down, check the harp, and hope for the best.
Harps
well, I guess you
harps required.
Yeah.
Harps required. No reason to leave a save. Quake does it though. RRS a couple nukes of Quake, and he is through. He's gonna get the Twin Harp, and he's got an interesting gamble in front of him now. If he feels like he's behind, he could take this Twin Harp straight back to Earth and gamble it off. He could decide instead that he is going to full clear the moon anyway because he needs the experience. And either way, that'll be important. So we'll see what he does after this exit cast and whether he decides to do.
I gotta think with the bosses still on the table and with how difficult that fight ended up being, you probably are gonna go back and check that Twin Harp. But maybe I'm wrong, as it looks like he's heading right back in.
Yeah, he's gonna dip down and he's gonna try and get his experience here for sure, which I appreciate. Gotta have your levels, that's important. He doesn't know that he is that. I mean, he's got to feel like he's behind. I think this is one of those rare situations in a rando race where you can safely say that you're behind because of that bad reset from the giant. Like the no available save between going back up the first time and going up the second time.
I think that's really interesting from a metagame perspective, because I think that's probably playing into his decision to keep going down this moon at this point. Because if he ended up thinking, okay, maybe Soleras did a top-down moon, found this Twin Harp, he's probably checking that right away. I should keep going down the moon and try and find it, not knowing that Soleras has cleared all this bottom moon stuff and hoping to gain an advantage out of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting play, certainly, but I mean, again, you got to get your levels, and there's a lot of checks down here. We know that the only thing that could potentially be fruitful, the only thing that could have a part of Go mode in it is Alt Gauntlet Ogo Pogo.
I don't think he has the levels for Alt Gauntlet Ogo Pogo. Maybe the Ribbon Room and the White Spear altar give him enough to consider it.
Very possible, certainly. I guess we're getting some music, so hit the harp, and I guess we'll have to take a minute. Man, Harp even makes the Calamity come out of the woodwork here.
Shoutouts to Calamity, who made quite a good number of these Harp songs, or at least programmed them into the game too.
Alright, well, RS has decided to kill the back soldiers and get 200,000 experience on his side. It's the party rock for Soleras, so the Earth party continues here, it looks like.
Gotta keep chasing, especially when you're already right there.
Can't stop, won't stop.
can't stop, won't stop, and no logistical reason in which you would think that stopping would potentially give you that much of an advantage at this point. Because do you want to go back to the moon and do the alt gauntlet at Ogopogo?
Yes? Question mark?
Now, what I'm hoping for is the demist at the Tower of Zot, Magus Sister's spot that has the Baron Key behind it, because I appreciate chaos. But we'll see what happens here.
I mean, it looks like Soleras is making a run at the treasury, which, I guess he's looking for loot because he still needs big sticks for his fighters. I appreciate this. I think it's time to raid that treasury.
Absolutely.
White spear, pair of ribbons. What do you give it?
I don't know how much ribbons help at this point. Ribbons are kind of unexciting at this point, because you think, what's the real giant benefit of ribbon? Magic defense is good, but not hard required with the HP levels we have. The only boss that you really want ribbons for is Golbez, who we know is down at the bottom of Feymarch, so I kind of give that pretty low odds. The white spear is the real treasure there, because that means you can just leave that defense sword on Cecil and you have 2 good weapons on 2 of your fighters.
I mean, since there were 2 ribbons, I'm going to give that one a Final Fantasy 1 out of 10.
Absolutely. 2 more is when you get to Final Fantasy 3 out of 10, but only if you have to fight a copy of a previous boss in order to get them.
That's legitimate. Soleras on the chase here. RRS is going to heal up. Did have no problem with the first 2 bosses down here, so both altars are down. Party levels starting to come around neatly into the low 40s. We'll see what he does with this gauntlet, though, whether he decides it's gauntlet time or not.
I would love to see him say it be gauntlet time, because we know that it would be great if it was gauntlet time, but I don't know if even in his position where he probably feels behind, he would go for that gauntlet.
Well, we're going to find out right now. He's pushing the button. We've got the swirly mists, and here comes a Dark Mask. It's Evil Mask, and oh man, he mashed that reset button just about as fast as Soleras did.
I think he might have even gotten that reset button a frame or 2 quicker, so you got to make up time where you can here. But because of that, we know that he's not going to have the potential gain from that. And it's unfortunate from where we're sitting, where we know that right now the option is either the rabbit hole Soleras is down or something locked behind that, in which case it's really only the Baron Key that can be behind that that's helpful at this point. So, I don't know. I can't say I wouldn't make the same play, but we do know that it might not be the right play for this seed.
Right, so this could be Baron Key. This could be Magma Key. This could be Spoon.
This could be the very sneaky 17 out of 17 in which you have a Wyvern sitting on the Odin throne, locked behind D-Mist at the package, which is my continual hope for today.
RS has hopped up to the Crystal Sword altar here. Is gonna find a turtle. Gonna get waved. Here's Go Mode though. It is Wyvern. We don't need this item. It is irrelevant. It could be anything. We're gonna get some hugs from Wyvern first, and yeah, ribbons are good. 3 card party members completely ignoring hugging and deciding to maintain their personal space, which is a good call. Cecil's now very angry. Goodbye, Wyvern. Have a nice day. Soleras is in Go Mode. Pass and Crystal in hand, and he's going to kick out in front of Baron and have to fly on over.
Absolutely, but just that way it lucks out here, and really, you could have designed... I feel like, it's like that thing where they give you the things to beat the boss right before the boss, and you're like, I'm getting a lot of ribbons right now. That must mean this next boss is using status effects if you're playing like a, not a randomizer. And in this case, it just worked out that, hey, you did need those ribbons.
But yeah, more importantly, we're gonna see what item this is. Let's at least get a feel for if the gauntlet had an item that we could use behind it or not. Because Baron Key can't be blocked by Baron Key, and it is a spoon. If that weren't Wyvern, we'd been very happy. Dang it. Now I'm sad.
That really only leaves the Gauntlet and Rydia's mom, and Demist at this point in time would have to be in Baron, I think.
Or on the Giant. We didn't see either Giant boss.
So yeah, it's either Gauntlet or potentially Giant bosses required to not finish this seed through that route that leads through Twin Heart.
Either way, I'm really sad because we're not going to get to see that Gauntlet.
I know. I was hoping for it, but it is what it is.
So this party of level 50-some characters are rolling up to the Troya pub here to grab a couple of drinks and maybe have a chill-out moment before the most important part of the Free Enterprise seed.
Absolutely. So as we have this standard FF4 endgame party, if Rydia were wearing a Santa costume ready to head to the Z fight, we should probably give it a little tiny bit of background here, which is that you can't move Zeromus around. He's too strong, way too strong. He would be terrible to run into as a boss. So he has to stay here at the end of the game where he belongs. A nice bow on that. So what we randomize instead is we have over 500 different sprites, most of which are made by the ever wonderful Scala Kitty, a few others made by Boardface as well, hiding behind the sprite, ready to pop out when that crystal gets thrown.
And everyone keeps talking about a butt or something. I don't know, Zeromus doesn't... Does Zeromus have a butt?
I think we're about to find out. I mean, do you want to ask that question, or do you want me to?
Yeah, does Zeromus have a butt?
Perfect. And, important question, is butt cute?
More important, though, RRS is going to do the Gauntlet. And we know that the Gauntlet has the Baron Key. Unless it's in Demist, and then, well, whatever.
I mean, Zeromus is exciting, but I know which fight I'm more excited to see, so my attention might be a bit distracted here.
All right, fine. I'll call the Zeromus fight. You can look at the Gauntlet happening here, but Zeromus is getting transformed. Crystal is fired off, and we have... it's Jeddah from Darkstalkers 3.
I was about to say it looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite place it. That makes sense, because I've never played any of the Darkstalkers games.
Yeah, more known for his appearance in the fighting game Darkstalkers 3 as well as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Jeddah is a stole-stealing pain in the butt.
You know what would have been great is if it was like, is there like an evil mask miss? Because that would have been great, like mirroring.
I mean, I'd have screamed a little bit, but there we go. Gonna throw the spoon. Gonna set up two berserkers here. Fu's gonna catch the first counter nuke, which isn't great, but he's got the gear to survive that. Spoon right to the chest. It's gonna do. God, that does 10,000 damage, huh? Good times.
Yeah, but imagine if you could be throwing that spoon at this behemoth, the second part of the wonderful Ogopogo alt gauntlet that we've got going on today.
Yeah, Big Bang 1 out for Soleras here. He's got his berserkers up and rolling though, so Fu is gonna survive, gonna get this Cure 4 off with Rosa. Cecil hitting pretty hard, Kane hitting pretty hard. This is, I mean, two Cure 4 casters. This should be pretty academic at this point. Soleras could possibly put the controller down now, go grab a drink, you know, stretch, you know, enjoy the victory lap.
Yeah, and over on RRS's side, having to use Edge, image on Edge just to get an extra source of blink, because these behemoths counter every single attack with a physical attack that hurts extremely hard, so gonna have to chip away at this very carefully and very slowly at this point.
Yeah, gonna patch up Fu for healing purposes as well, it looks like, but man, this is always a great fight. On Soleras' side, he is engaging in this fight in the most engaging of manners. His berserkers are rolling, doing about 7,000 damage a cycle, so about with the Silk Web, 14,000 damage of Z-turn here. So again, in the driver's seat. There's the Shake for Big Bang 2 after the health reset, so did enough damage to turn the health back over to 61k and keep pushing. Not going to try to nerf this Big Bang Kane. Assured of surviving Cecil, assured of surviving Rosa with like a white shirt and a real staff and everything. Should survive. Never mind his Meteor, it's all over. This party is done.
I was about to ask if we were going to see another Big Bang. I didn't realize you weren't going to see that one. So I guess that answered my own question, and it really just is these last few hits of Victory Lap, and there it is. Soleras through this seed with a time of 1:27.21.
A solid showing all the way around, certainly. And didn't have to do this all gauntlet, so I'm sure that you're going to ask him about that in a minute. He's going to make sighing happy noises at you, and I'm going to be sad, and we're going to keep moving on with that. The theme of that. Is that Soleras? Soleras, is that you?
Welcome. So, first of all, GG's. Great job on the win. Very interesting seed. Do you have any, like, initial thoughts you want to give us on how that seed went?
Finally get to play Fusoyo. I love Fu. As somebody who likes just playing, like, just optimizing things, Fu is really fun to do that with because he's so powerful. You sort of get to cut off a little bit more than you normally would, I feel like, from checks that you would do or chopping you would do or whatnot. Also, yeah, that Siren Steel was scary. Just gotta call that out. That's a thing that I did. It was not optimal. But yeah, that was a fun seed overall. Alt Gauntlet nearly required. Felt like that would have not been great, but yeah.
Yeah, that was actually the first question that I had for you is you faded the Alt Gauntlet completely once you got that Twin Heart headed straight back down. Were you ever tempted to go back and take that Alt Gauntlet instead of heading straight back down first?
No, that was the dead last thing I was going to do. I was even sort of tempted to look for Wyvern, like, on the Giant of the package. I probably wouldn't have done that, but it was playing in my mind. That Alt Gauntlet is difficult. Like, I finally had, like, a... Well, no, I didn't even get a White Spear until the Treasury. I had a Defense Sword, I guess, and an Ogre Axe. Like, I mean, it would have been fine. It just... It's a long, difficult fight. Many of the encounters are difficult, especially the double dragons at the very end there.
It's more the single dragon that's giving RS the business because Heat Ray is a good spell that has microwaved his entire party at this point other than Cecil.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Heat Ray is pretty nasty.
So, taking a sort of walk way back towards the start of the seed and like that, when you first got underground, you went straight back into the tower. Were you sort of like, where you had both pieces of the forge, were you at all tempted to go forge first, or was it always just going to be at that point, you know what, I'm just going to head straight back into this tower and get it done?
I had no interest forging immediately. I mean, you get a nice stat stick for Fu, but I kind of wanted more money before I touched that forge shop. Of course, I spent a lot of my money on my, like, right before heading there, and I remember thinking, like, that was silly, because if they're, like, defense swords, I really would like one. I'm not sure I would have been able to afford one anymore, but, I mean, with the power of Fu and the Tower Key in hand, I just wanted to focus on efficiency, and I think the most efficient thing to do was to just drop down immediately. We had so much of the seed left to do, I felt like, with no objectives complete, besides Forge. So yeah, Tower was the place because it was right there, and Antlion, just 3 or 4 nukes and it's done, kind of deal.
Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting that you mentioned there's a lot of seed to do. You know, we got so much early power and like that it seemed like this was heading to be a bit of a jet seed and ended up being, you know, still an hour and a half long seed. What are your thoughts on like how far stuff was buried in the seed, and were you at the point where you were ever considering like maybe I don't go for a level grind and try and do moon bosses without, or was that just always still going to be the plan there, is just to try and get through that the way you did?
You know, honestly, this is one of those seeds where you could have gone to the moon immediately and done the Mura altar and got through that cave value boss because it was free, and you would have been done a lot sooner than this. really interesting. I just wanted some levels before the moon. I realized after stealing like 10 sirens, I was like, why am I stealing 10 sirens? This is silly. I just want to get to Cure 4 so it's faster to do things on the moon and then just do moon bosses. Didn't, like, technically, like, theoretically, you probably could just do a couple sirens and then run up there, but I don't know, not how I played it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could have gone through this with just how quickly it opened up once you got that darkness crystal and the like. The one last question I had is, was there ever a situation in which you would have left that sealed cave down there? Because for a while it looked like you were just going to fade it and then decided, you know what, I pretty much only have this one last thing down here, I might as well check that first.
I wanted to look at it earlier, but it was kind of awkward. I didn't have a tent or cabin or ether to my name. And once I looked at the Fame Arch, I realized just healing up, and I just don't want to spend all that time, so I at least did the Sheila 1 setup first, then I was like, I think I did Luca and then did Sheila 1. I just didn't want to leave it, basically. My mindset is to just get through everything on Earth if I'm already committed, even somewhat to that.
Absolutely. Demi, did you have any questions you wanted to ask Soleras?
Nope, but we just did see that the Baron Key was on Sheila's mom, so it was not here.
Yeah, that's a crystal ring for that alt gauntlet. That is heartbreaking there.
Oh, is that from Sheila 2? Did I forget to turn that in? That's silly.
No, Rydia's mom had the Baron Key. That's right, it was demissed. That's right, it was demissed. Either behind the package or on the giant.
Wow. Oh, what a seed.
So with that sort of last bombshell out of the way, Soleras, did you have any other thoughts for us on how this race went for you today?
So that part where I was on my mind to look for Demist or Wyvern, and I didn't say Demist, but like look for bosses instead of do that alt gauntlet. Holy cow! There you go. Otherwise, no. GG's to Rowdy. This was Foo's always interesting. It's super easy, I feel like, early on, and then once like your party members start getting faster than Foo, it can be surprisingly tricky because you just can't do anything with his agility except get a curse ring and maybe a ninja hat. I don't know. Foo's an interesting one, but yeah, I don't know. I had fun. And otherwise, thanks so much for putting on the restream. Y'all always do amazing. It's always super appreciated, and thanks for having me.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. And again, GG's on your win tonight. Game 1 of 3 for this series for the week. So we'll see you again shortly in the next one.
Yep, we'll be playing tomorrow, same time. And yep, thanks so much. Bye.
And with that, we're about to get music part 2 once Rowdy Roddy Sniper gets done walking here. He is on his path to the end of the point. Really unfortunate that ended up being that way. And to answer a question from chat, so Foo has to be the anchor due to how ZZ4 is set up. Correct. We have the Sea Hero flag on, and with the Sea Hero flag on, whoever is your starting character is your agility anchor throughout the whole seed. You cannot just knock them over because they will gain experience even while dead. And you have to plan around that and just sort of deal with it.
Yeah, RS is then just dropped down now. He is here on Earth gonna do the harp. So he's on his way now at least, which is good to see. Yeah, making real short work of this. And this is all good because he's definitely going to be on his way now.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully it was a nice, relatively easy boss down here. The only real annoyance of it being Maggot Sisters at Twin Harp is that this spot is extremely resistant to magic, so you can't just quake them down real quick. That's the real only downside there. So with that, RS has gotten his Earth Crystal, is going to head, presumably following, chasing that, and will be well on his way to finishing the rest of the seed at this point. Here's the real question coming up. If you're in Rowdy Roddy Sniper's shoes, do you bother checking the treasury still?
I mean, I probably don't, but I mean, RS knows the race is over at this point, so it doesn't matter. You go get your power and make sure you can handle everything.
Absolutely. I think that's a fair point that I sort of didn't think about because I'm too used to being on the commentary side and forgetting that the race room exists because I'm not supposed to be in there with 15-minute delay. So realistically, it's interesting to see that sort of thing where you might as well just go for it. Unfortunately, the inventory boss is going to rear its ugly head for, I think, the first time so far here. I don't remember seeing it before right now.
It's popped up like 11 times this seed. It's been so hectic. Both our runners have had pretty full inventories for a while.
Yeah, I might have just missed it because this is one of those seeds where it feels like every couple minutes something really big was about to happen. So it sort of takes your focus away from the person who's looting at that point in time.
Yeah, things definitely get all over the place, without a doubt.
And with that, it is the tower time once again. Should be very quick. I forget what boss is even in this first spot at this point, but it wasn't anything particularly threatening.
It was Millenzy.
Right. I was trying to remember because it feels like it felt like nothing really was going on at that point because I think that was when RRS was deciding to take that out gauntlet, and I'm really eager to find out the thought process behind going for that instead of chasing the harp at that point. So we'll find that out shortly, as I think he'll have a pretty smooth way through that Z fight once he gets there as well.
Yeah, pretty sure that we're in smooth sailing territory here, which is always nice.
Just a bit of last-minute equipping going on over on there right now. Just gonna shuffle a few things around, get those ribbons down. Probably will end up being very happy that he went and did that treasury once he sees that good old, very friendly, hugging wyvern up there.
Big hugs.
And honestly, with how much this does put the 10 MP on Kane, very good, as always.
And we're memeing. We did it.
What spells does Kane know that he can use that MP with? It's just basically just like stab things.
He gets spells in the after years.
I didn't get that far in the after years. Now I have a reason to go through the rest of it. I need to know what Kane's spell list is.
You sure do. Everybody play the after years. God, Milensy got nuked. He's dead. This sucks. I
feel like you're sort of in this case though getting into like Dragon Quest 1 initial things where you can really only cast like hurt and hurt more at this point in time.
That's fair.
Names which I desperately wish they'd have kept for later versions.
Well, the problem was that in later versions, they ended up splitting off Lightning into its own tree of abilities, because Hurt was supposed to be shooting small fireballs, and Hurtmore was supposed to be a big lightning bolt. But they ended up having to kind of separate the two, so, you know, then we don't get Hurtmore anymore.
I didn't know that, actually. I've been curious about that the whole time. You learn something new every day.
That's right. I've got the hot Dragon Warrior lore to go with the hot Final Fantasy lore.
Thing that I'm curious about, and I have been from like this Wyvern fight, is what enemy even has Hug in this game? Where did that come from?
It is carries on the moon. If they are the only enemy remaining, they will use Hug on a single target.
Fascinating. I was so curious as to who has Hug. Why I've never seen Hug. Why no one ever told me that Hug existed when you really, really need more abilities named Hug in any game.
Why are no Hugs?
This and more hard-hitting questions will take us through this Wyvern fight in this case. And speaking of hard-hitting, the Wyvern is already gone, because at this point in time, we are in full-on power overwhelming. We will be for the C fight, so really just a matter of getting back up to Troya from Baron, and then the Z fight, and it will be all over there. I feel like we need a flag to give Fu like a bunch of enemy spells instead of his normal spell list, and sort of the cousin of the Wyvern flag. It would be, of course, the waifu flag in this case.
No.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But also, I thought of the idea and then realized what the flag would be and had to say it out loud at that point.
We'll fix it in post.
You don't want Mega Nuke Fu. What if we could make Fu better? I have to get through at least... I've made it my mission for each one of these free streams to come up with at least one thing that will get a immediate no in the feedback channel in the Discord. By the way, if you're watching and you want to play this randomizer for yourself, you're new to the community, please... First of all, go to the website ff4fe.com, give it a try yourself, and also please drop by our Discord, because we have an absolutely amazing community filled with amazing people who would be glad to help you through. But we also, of course, have the feedback channel, and my goal through all of these is to continue giving bad ideas that will hopefully at some point in time get dropped in there.
But yeah, RS is gonna start the fight here with his levels and his party in great shape.
Absolutely, and this shouldn't take too long. We'll just see him sail through this fight, and it's good, always good to have a sort of easy Z fight at the end of a tough seed like this. Sort of a nice palate cleanser.
Yeah, I mean, you know, occasionally you want a nice relaxing finish fight there, and it's always good to see. Taco Bowl also mentioning that it's not a bad idea, it's actually a good idea if you want to sign up. You know, the Restream team always taking new people. If you want to learn the ropes, maybe figure out what life is like on the side of the microphone that Enter and I are on, or do some restreaming, do some tracking, there's a form on the website. Go ahead and grab, or on the Discord, go ahead and grab that. You know, you can join our Restream team as well.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun because you get a good excuse to watch all of these wonderful races that we put on consistently, which are always thrilling and exciting to watch. Like, I will say, like, you know, the end of this one sort of ended up being a little bit, you kind of have to follow the one rabbit hole, but this has definitely been a very interesting seed to watch go through in this case. And if you want a good excuse to watch more of them, why not help put on the show?
But yeah, it looks like the setup for RS is pretty similar to the setup that Soleras had here, which was throw the spoon, Berserk, Kane, and Cecil first, then Berserk Edge, cast Cure 4, top up the party, and then, you know, probably put the controller down, grab a drink, get ready to interview. You know the drill.
Absolutely. The only question is, do you go for the quad Berserk? Do you just let Rosa hit things, or do you go for the full-on damage spirit? And it does look like he is just going to take the safer route of 3 Berserkers and pop a Star Veil on Rosa and maybe start dropping nukes as well.
Yeah, maybe try to push a little bit of extra damage here just to be sure that he gets through this cleanly, because, he's kind of on that cusp of doing enough damage not have to worry about it. He's actually doing enough damage, he doesn't have to worry about it probably, but, you know, better safe than sorry here, so gonna sneak in a little bit of extra damage.
Might as well. I mean, at this point, maybe we'll skip another big bang here with just getting that through, but it's going to drop the nuke off of Fu. Will probably hit for quad 9s at this point.
I mean, Fu doesn't gain magic casting stats, so it's not usually Fu very rarely hits for the full 9k, for the full 9999, and that was 6800, which is still really good.
For sure. I mean, it's not like he really needs that extra 3,000 damage when it's just one more swing from Cecil taking off at this point anyways. I think the big question is, are we even going to see another big bang at this point?
Extremely no. Wow, that was an 8900 from Fu. That's real impressive. You don't see a lot of those either.
I didn't realize how much damage variance you could have in this fight on Fu, because that was, 2100 damage range there. It must have been like the extreme low end and extreme high end.
Absolutely. Well, there's Shake number 2. We did not get to see Big Bang 2 for Soleras here, and Soleras was not casting spells. Soleras was just swinging away, so it seems likely that we won't see one here, but we'll find out in a moment.
We are going to see a white off of Rosa as well, but I'm not sure if with the cast time it would even go off before a potential Big Bang at this point.
Oh, there is Big Bang number 2. I mean, Kane definitely going to survive, Cecil definitely going to survive, Edge is fine, Rosa likely fine, so this should not be a big concern. Yeah.
Yeah, even with an extra 500 to spare, gonna drop another white, drop another nuke. This is pretty much over at this point.
It's Rosa quad 9s that are going to do the deed, though. Big damage from Rosa to finish the job. Hour 50 and 43 seconds for RS. Tough run, but, he definitely gave it his all, and, he's still got another shot. It's not over yet. He's only down 0-1, so, regroup, bounce back. That's what you got to do.
And speaking of which, we are joined by Rowdy Roddy Sniper for an interview. First of all, GG's on a very well-run race, coming back from those few little issues you had there.
Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, I did say it before I came into the voice chat, so I'm good.
Oh. I wasn't going to say it.
Oh, no, it's fine. That threw me off quite a bit, obviously. Realizing, I was trying to do the D machine, use the D machine chart to find my grind and go from there. And once I realized where I was and that I didn't save, it's like, okay, plan B. Let's just rush the moon bosses and try to level up that way.
Yeah, I can definitely see the strategy there. First question I want to ask is, what were your thoughts on the seed as a whole, especially where it gave you all that power really early on?
I started to suspect something was up with where the either Wyvern or the Baron key was when I had that twin harp and still hadn't seen a finish, because getting Quake, getting Nuke, and Fu just obliterating the first 2/3 of the seed and really the entire seed, because he carried me through that moon that party hadn't was little underleveled for. So yeah, it was kind of fun in that sense.
Actually leads into my next question that I had for you is you got the twin harp out of that first altar there, and then you did end up going back down and taking on that alt gauntlet down at the Ogopogo altar. What led you to make that decision there?
Again, looking at it, not seeing a finish, and seeing the fact that there was next to nothing on the moon, because I'd already cleared out all the other altars, so it was like, okay, either it's behind chain leading from the twin harp, and I would assume that would be the more rational, that was the play that most runners would make, because it's the smarter play than taking the alt gauntlet at the Masamune altar. Or just go for the Hail Mary and try for pulling that Baron key out of there, and it didn't pay out.
Yeah, another question I have to ask too, because I was curious, is you had that bit of a mishap with the giant there. Did that lead to your decision to just avoid a level grind at that point? Like, was that a risk that you were willing to take? And how do you feel about how that ended up turning out for you? Because it seems like it actually went pretty well for you.
I didn't feel very good about it after the Evil Wall at the Murasame altar, but once I saw that officer guard fight, the Kaipo guard fight in the Ribbon Room, it was like, all right, this worked out better than it should have.
Absolutely. Another question I had is sort of going way back to, you get down to the bottom of the hook route. It's about half an hour into the seed, which is, blazingly fast for a hook route. You have both pieces of Forge. What led to your decision to go and Forge first? Because I've been watching Soleras' side. He just turned around, went back into the tower. I wanted to know what led you making that decision as the best play for you.
I wanted to see what was in the shop in case I needed it, because I didn't have a weapon for Cecil. I wanted to see what I could potentially pull out of there, as far as something to help shore me up if I needed it. Plus, just get the objective off the table, go from there. I was going to do Baron in first anyway, because I wanted to look for another character, because I only had 4 at the time. So, or not Baron, Dwarf Castle. So in that sense, the routing was a little bit more. It was more on the way than it would have been if I just rushed the tower.
Absolutely. And another question that I had is, when you went back to Sharp and you ended up seeing that Earth Crystal, were you at all tempted to check anything beyond that Earth Crystal, or was that always going to be like your absolute next choice? Because at that point in time, I believe the finish would have come through, and I wasn't sure if that would have thrown your into a potentially different route, or if you would have just kept chasing that.
Looking at, I think the only other key item I had was the package. So other than looking for a D-Mist or a Wyvern there, I think the Earth Crystal was the only thing I had, unless I mismarked something.
It would have been. That was mostly me asking if you're ever tempted to check the package, because I was kind of hoping that someone would.
No, I figured at that point in time, let's just stay on the path. Let's just stay on the path. Check the treasury to send the people home happy.
Absolutely. Demi, did you have any questions for Rowdy Roddy Sniper?
No. Do you have anything on mind for your second race? Anything you're going to change for the second time around?
That's a good question. I kind of have to look back at this and think about this and figure out, despite the Asura, the Antlion, since I didn't have, that put me behind from the word go, because the life lock got messed up because Porum missed at the wrong time, and if I'd done Antlion, if I had done Mistgate first, I at least had Ice 2 to make that fight easier. I think that was part of it. I think that I just kind of was trying to play catch up the whole time, so I've usually got a circuit that I like to do on the overworld, and I got out of that, and hopefully be in a situation where I feel like I have to take less risks.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. And did you have any other final thoughts for us today?
Obviously, good GG Soleras. Thank you to the both of you and the Restream team and the Restream and trackers for putting this on. And do appreciate all the work that everybody does behind the scenes and on the mics to make sure that we have these events on Randomania and other places. So thank you to all of you. And look forward to trying to get back on the horse tomorrow and see what I can do at 0-1 against Soleras tomorrow. It's it was a tough draw to begin with, and go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us for the interview and for being in the tournament as well. You put on a very good and fun to watch race, and hopefully tomorrow will be just as exciting.
Yeah, you get to see the full gauntlet at Masamune. I don't know how many times you get to see that, so you at least got something different.
I was watching that more than I was watching the Z fight on the other side. It was a thrill to watch.
Well, when I got down to that one Cecil, it was just like, all right, Dragoon hat, do your thing.
Absolutely. It was great to watch. And again, thank you so much for joining us and showing us the gauntlet too.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, and this has been another extremely good race and a very tough round of 64 for a lot of runners here.
Absolutely. It was really impressive seeing a lot of that sort of clawback going on after that giant incident. And, it didn't end up paying off, but anytime that you see that sort of divergence and you see that sort of, and then suddenly you can just get through this without a grind, it was actually really interesting to see. And I don't want to say that I'm happy that it panned out that way, because I'm not, but in some ways it did really make that moon play a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it really did, even though it was definitely required, like 100%.
Definitely. And I believe that is actually going to be it for us today. And I believe we are going to be heading over to the Free Enterprise channel for the Castro v. John Burkhead race.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to the moon. I hope they are, but we're going to hop down from the moon. We're going to take you to the deck of the flagship now. It's been a blast. So, of course, to Taco Bowl and Cubs Rule for handling the tracking and restreaming, thank you, as always, for helping out behind the scenes. And, of course, for my co-commentator, Nth. I am Demarine. We are out of here, and we'll see you later.